You know, I've been holding in my hands here. I haven't even referred to this document yet. Here's your 20-page essay in the C2C Journal. I really get a kick out of that because they're longer pieces. It's not. I mean, I'm a Twitter guy, so I read 280 character notes. But this is a 20-page essay by you. Let me just read the opening headline and teaser here, and I'd like you to tuck into this.
Sure.
Legal canons and social fables. The law in Canada has never been perfect, but now it is losing its way. And let me just read two more sentences. I'd love you to get into this.
Sure.
I think you already have a bit. Unashamed racial discrimination in the name of equality. Judges refusing to hear scientific evidence and basing life-altering rulings on mere assumptions, like denying that lady her heart transfer, her organ transplant because she wasn't jabbed. Public institutions brazenly claiming to be above the law and courts agreeing. Jurists, judges, upending unambiguous constitutional provisions, public intellectuals enduring professional misconduct investigations for the crime of applying their intellect. And you're talking about Jordan Peterson. Professionals punished for exercising independent judgment. Bruce Pardy, that's you, surveys the descent of Canada's legal system into Alice in Wonderland surrealism, a state that poses dangers to virtually every Canadian and to the future of the rule of law itself. That is a pretty apocalyptic summary. I mean, yet you are part of this establishment. I mean, Queen's is a first-rank university. You're a law professor there. That is, you are part of the priesthood in a way. But maybe you are a blaspheming.
I'm the barbarian.
Let me ask you before you get into this, have they tried to expel you like they tried to expel Jordan Peterson?
No.
Why?
No, to their great credit. Now, a short time ago, I invited Jordan to give a lecture at Queen's. And the response of the community was divided. Lots of people were very enthusiastic about seeing and hearing him. Others were of the view that he should not be given a platform at Queen's. And to their great credit, the principal and the dean of law at the time both said, no, this is the work that we do at universities. We listen to people even if we don't agree with them, and they insisted that it go ahead. So
did it go ahead?
It went ahead. It was a tremendous success. There were 800 plus people packed into the university's largest venue. It was a fantastic event.
And how did the protesters protest?
Well, the protesters protested on the sidewalk, which was, of course, fine. Yeah. But
did they pull fire alarms?
Well, they did actually all kinds of things that were beyond over the line. They banged on the windows and managed to break one of them. And in the meantime, it was very difficult to hear what was going on inside the hall. I was on the stage with Jordan, and frankly, at times I couldn't hear what was going on. And they blocked some of the exits so that people couldn't get out in the case of a fire and so on. But overall, it went very well. And in a sense, the protesters only managed to make the point that Jordan was making inside the hall, which is these people just don't want to hear anything they don't agree with.
I am sure that every young person, and I presume it was students mainly in that room, although there would have been others in the community.
Yeah.
I'm sure they won't forget that night. The drama, the excitement, and being the receivers of a knowledge that the other side wants to ban. There's something tantalizing about secret knowledge. I think it's one of the reasons why people are open to conspiracy theories, because they have an alternate explanation for the world that only they know, and it gives them some sort of superiority.
Right.
And that's sort of a fake superiority.
Yeah.
But if there's a wise and thoughtful guy who may get some things wrong, but Jordan Peterson is not an intellectual lightweight. He's been thinking about these things for 40 years. And he's tried to popularize it, and he'll debate anyone. So he's not, he may have strong opinions, but he's not a kook or a crank. And a lot of people find real meaning in what he's saying. And imagine going there and having to strain and listen over the smashing sounds and having the whiff of some real violence. Well, maybe I'm going to get hurt. You will never forget what you heard that day. And if there's any doubt that you heard something important, that doubt is gone, because the other side certainly thought it was important enough to stop.
Right.
I'm not sure if my analogy of secret knowledge works there, but you heard something that the other side wants to make impossible to know. I think you're right about proving the point. I've got to think that makes Jordan Peterson's followers even more dedicated.
Oh, I would think. But it's interesting what you say about secret knowledge, because in a way, that is one thing that characterizes the legal profession. They are the holders of secret knowledge. And, listen, the law can be a difficult task. Language has inherent ambiguities. Things are not always straightforward. It's difficult to make them straightforward. But on the other hand, our legal system has become very tangled. We have laws about everything. The amount of rules and policies we have about everything under the sun is getting to be overwhelming. It's difficult to make your way through the legal system without a lawyer. Even for the lawyers, it's becoming overly bureaucratic. It's very slow. It's very expensive for everybody. The access to justice is becoming as challenging to obtain sometimes as timely medical care in this country.
And not just access to justice, but, the old saying, the more laws, the more corruption. And I'm going to give you one more quote. I think it was Lavrenti Beria, the founder of the Soviet secret police, who said, "Show me the man and I'll find you the crime." I said, if you've got a lot of laws out there, especially if they're vague and murky,
Oh, sure.
give me the guy and I'll tell you how we can get him.
Yes.
I'll tell you how
Yes.
we can get him. And you see that. There are some, let me give you a case of Arthur Pavlovsky.
Right.
He is exactly what would be meant by this turbulent priest. Will someone rid me of this turbulent priest? Like, he will not stop. He is turbulent in every definition.
Right.
And that infuriates the mayor and the police and he's like an allergic reaction in human form. And so they're going after him again and again and again. And sometimes they win and sometimes they lose. There's been 100 charges, tickets, 100. And I don't mean 50. I mean 100.
Right.
And eventually he wins most of them, by the way. But I think there's something wrong with a society that will simply keep charging a man and jailing Tamara Leach for 49 days without a hearing. And they chose to do that to her, but not to others. I'm sure there wasn't a single arrest at the Jordan Peterson meeting at Queens. Was there a single arrest?
I don't believe so.
Smashing windows. It's more violence than all the trucker convoy did combined.
Yes, that's true.
Threatening, blocking fire.
There may have been an arrest after the fact. Somebody was discovered to have been carrying a garrote, a weapon. But I don't think that was on the scene. I think it was after the fact.
Okay, well, but the smashing and, that's more than the truckers did.
Yes.
And I feel like we are at that point where you can be rebel news.
Yep.
I feel sometimes like the censorship laws are called the rebel news laws. Like they're so clearly targeting
Right.
The few contrary.
Well, there's one of my favorite quotes is by a Colombian professor whose name escapes me at the moment, but he says, "Dying societies accumulate laws like dying men accumulate remedies."
Oh, isn't that interesting?
So if you want to stop this and stop that and restrict this and manage that, then suddenly you have a plethora of laws about everything. Instead of having a few basic rules about conduct and some principles.
That's a great quote.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to do this because I could talk to you all day, but I want to get through your C2C article. Why don't we do this?
Yes.
You've broken it down into what you call fables.
Right.
These are what you talk about, the myths that we have to have a common story, our common narrative as a society, what keeps us together.
Right.
And in some places it's history, in some places it's blood and nationality. What is it in Canada? Well, maybe it's a story.
Mm-hmm.
Let's whip through these fables. Now, the first one of them I see is a picture of the Tamara Leach we were just talking about a second ago.
Right.
Fable number one, the criminal justice system is fair and even-handed. Right. You've already talked a little bit about this, but give me a one-liner on it.
Yes, well, so that these are the things that give our system legitimacy in the minds of the people. If you think you're going to get a fair shake if you're charged or the like, then you're going to go along with the idea that the process will protect you. Whatever the outcome is, you're going to get a fair shake. But you can take examples like the Tamara Leach situation and think, well, that wasn't fair. In the Tamara Leach situation, as you alluded to, she was kept in jail for 49 days in total at two different times for a charge that was nonviolent, within a system in which people charged with all manner of things, including violent crimes, are let out on bail routinely,
including terrorists, by the way.
And twice on both these occasions, she was put in jail by lower court officials and then released by superior court judges when the case came before them. And it certainly seemed like the prosecutor was determined to hold her in jail and maybe even punish her before her trial and before conviction for this crime of the century that she committed in Ottawa, even though, as you say, it was a peaceful protest. So it is one of the challenges, one of the examples, and this is not to say that this happens all the time. It doesn't. But if you can pull out anecdotes, examples of things where it doesn't go right, then the strength of the story begins to weaken.
And when you learn things, and this is what they mean in the law, not to bring the administration of justice into disrepute. That's a great line that's burned in my memory, because you've got to conduct yourself in a way that people have confidence, even especially the losers. The losers have to love and trust the system enough that when they lose, they say, well, I had my shot.
That's exactly right. There's another phrase that goes, justice must not only be done, but must manifestly appear to be done.
That was an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show. I'm Ezra Levant. Every weekday, I do a monologue about the topic of the day. Then I interview a fascinating guest either in studio or via Skype. And then I read your mail, whether it's fan mail or hate mail, which is sometimes even more interesting. This is on our premium service, though, called Rebel News Plus. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. It's $8 a month or less if you buy a whole year in advance. You get my show every weeknight, plus Sheila Gunn Reid's show every week. It's called The Gun Show. It's pretty amazing. You know, we rely on you because we do not take a dime from the government. In Canada, that makes us almost unique. So please help us out and help yourself to some great journalism at rebelnewsplus.com.